Hello, welcome to the channel. We're going to be talking Tenet today and the sort of polar opposite view that people are taking on the film's box office, because you'd read this headline, okay, let me just scroll down a little bit. You'd read this headline and go, right, IMAX CEO talks Tenet China and why premium VOD doesn't work, right? And then an excerpt from this article specifically where it was safe and there was capacity, it did extremely well. You'd read that and you go, bravo Tenet, bravo. And then you'd read this, right? You'd read this, okay, it's made 250 million worldwide. Yeah, okay. And then it starts to get super negative. Tenet has a tepid response. Interesting. Now, my take on Tenet. I love Tenet. I thought it was a really good film. I had a fantastic time with Tenet. I genuinely loved it. In fact, I've got the making of Tenet book down there from Titan Books. I'm waiting on some PDFs to do a book review. If you're new here, I like to do some book reviews every now and then. I really liked it. I thought it was fantastic. And I actually think that the result for the box office, bearing in mind that previous information, so you might think I'm biased, I actually think the box office result is really good. Because you need to remember, half the world's markets are closed. Now, is 250 million worldwide good per what they spent on it? No, of course it's not. But is 250 million worldwide a good box office taking, bearing in mind we are in a period of mass hysteria, we have, theatres closed, people not going out, so on and so forth? Yeah, it's really good. In fact, it's really good, because not only do we have all those theatres that are closed and those markets that are closed, i.e., a lot of the United States are done, you also have the fact that whatever markets are open are restricted. Now, if I go to a theatre in the UK, 2 seats in front of me and over to one side, empty. 2 seats next to me, empty. 2 seats behind me, empty. They have to be like that. So the amount of people that can go and view a movie at any one time, incredibly limited now. Not only that, ladies and gents, you then also have the fact that they are having to cut down on the amount of screenings that they show in a day. Why? Because they have to increase cleaning time in between screenings of the movies. So to hit 250 million worldwide in very limited markets with such stringent things in place to control everything and to make people feel happy to go out, I'd say that's really good. But it's fascinating to see how some people don't seem to understand that. So what we'll do is we'll start off with the negative and then we'll end on the positive, because I want this to be a positive video. So let's take a look. This is an article over on comicbook.com. Okay, I will just shuffle this over because the formatting's all wrong. But also, guys, I want to hear from you. Do you think that 250 million worldwide is good based on everything I've said, or do you still think that that sucks? Let me know. Because I genuinely think the knock-on effect that this has currently had, bearing in mind you know that they're going to extend the theatre run for Tenet, you can guarantee it, I think the knock-on effect on that has actually been bad. I don't see studios cancelling movies left, right and centre. I don't see them delaying them left, right and centre. I think Tenet was absolutely the test, and I think it's passed the test. I don't think studios are reactionary to it currently. I mean, that remains to be seen. We will see how it goes. But anyway, Tenet has made 250 million at the global box office. Again, it's not even global, is it? Let's be honest. And Warner Brothers' experiment is rolling on. However, the Christopher Nolan project has not exactly set the world on fire in North America, where it has only brought home 36 million so far. But there's barely anywhere open. But after what looked like a catastrophic start, the film is doing the best it can with what's available. Large swathes of theatres are just not open in America yet, and that has to figure into the math here. With a global health crisis going on, there is also the matter of if audiences are in the mood to go out and see a movie knowing the risk indoor gatherings pose. I would say yeah. I would absolutely say yeah. Again, and I think I said this in my Tenet review, is that now is the best time to go to the theatre. In fact, it's the safest time to go to the theatre. And it's fascinating to see it was Scott Derrickson come out and go, "Don't go to the theatre, you're dumb. Don't go and see Tenet, you're an idiot." It's like, dude, it couldn't be safer. It couldn't be cleaner anymore. You know? However many screenings do they have normally? How many are just in and out? How many people are sat next to you? It is the best movie-going experience currently because they're limiting everything and they're cleaning everything. The theatres are the cleanest they've ever been. It's the same as gyms. Gyms are literally the cleanest they've ever been, and people are like, "Don't go to the gym." It's like, what, really? You didn't do this when flu was around? Calm your tits. So anyway, it kind of, goes on about this, and it says about China, right? Over in China, Mulan has shrunk 72% in the second weekend of its availability, and that accounts for only 36 million in a market where Disney thought that they could count on much stronger performance. Yeah, because they made that movie for China. Because it did really well in China, actually. Tenet did more and better than Mulan, as far as I could tell from the numbers. Adding to these concerns is the fact that Warner Brothers isn't sharing the metrics and other studios aren't too thrilled about it. Comicbook.com's Adam Barnhart talked about why these numbers matter so much to other projects. Well, they're only sharing them with respect to, themselves, and how other projects are sort of banking on things is to see whether they've made money. I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty simple, isn't it, really? Now, comicbook.com's Adam, came out and said, prior to the closure of theatres and the temporary shuttering of all of Hollywood for the better part of 6 months, it was commonplace for the data to be shared amongst studios so they could plan and forecast future releases and the like. Now, I think something which is really important, which I don't think anyone's taken into account, is the fact that they want to extend Tenet's run. So they don't want people to go, "Yep, absolutely, we can release another movie." Warner Brothers has it absolutely all to themselves right now. They can literally just sit there and release Tenet and not do anything. They don't have to worry about competition. So why would they be releasing numbers and getting any competition up against them? That's not what they want. Don't be so stupid. Now, with Warner now willing to supply that data, it's causing some hiccups. Not willing to supply the data, it's causing some hiccups in the decision-making of other studios as they work to decide whether or not to release movies this fall, as health experts forecast an increase in COVID-19 cases around the country. Again, please bear in mind, they want they want limited movies being released against Tenet. They want it all to themselves. Surely that's just a no-brainer. No? Am I wrong? Now, Adam continued and says, what we do know, however, is that Tenet has had a tepid response for what many thought would be the largest release of the year. But it is currently, in terms of pandemic movies, is it not? I think it's even done more than Trolls Worldwide. Trolls Worldwide hit like 100 million on PVOD. So yeah, it is one of the largest of the year. Through Sunday, the Nolan blockbuster has reportedly grossed 29.5 million domestically for a global total of 207 million. As expected, the movie's second weekend dropped significantly, hauling in just under 7 million stateside. Now, John David Washington is the new protagonist in blah blah blah, and then he just goes on to say some bits and pieces about the movie itself. But it's fascinating how no one is taking into account. I think this is actually really, really well. An IMAX CEO shares that. Now, that's obviously not. That doesn't add any level of legitimacy. IMAX was part of it, and, they provided screens, so on and so forth, and the technology behind it. But his comments are interesting, and I think they're they're just common sense. That's all that they are. So IMAX CEO Richard Gelfond touted the recent theatrical release of Christopher Nolan's Tenet while pouring water on the premium VOD window for Hollywood blockbuster releases during an investor conference appearance on Wednesday. Now, he has a vested interest in saying these things. I agree. But what he's saying is just common knowledge. You only have to look around. So where it was safe and there was capacity, it did extremely well. And this is what he said of Tenet, right? Now, obviously, they had the theatrical rollout during a session at the Communicopia conference that was webcast. Gelfond pointed to big business for Tenet at the multiplex overseas, including China, but was less bullish about the North American play for the Warner Brothers tentpole, which makes perfect sense. Now, he goes on to say that, look, the US had a weaker result, and that was probably predictable. It was massively predictable, because theatres were only reopening, and some of them are still not open. The plan was to get the world open and have movies follow on in the rest of the world, that played out well. In the US, there wasn't enough awareness, so it opened slower. And hopefully, the movie will have legs going forward. Which speaks volumes to what I was saying, was they're just going to extend this theatrical run. And no, Warner Brothers are not going to be sharing any metrics. Why would they? Again, surely that's just plain to see and pretty obvious. Now, he does go on to say he's less optimistic about the evolving premium VOD distribution model for major studios as they continue to push tentpole releases into 2021 after Universal Pictures' recent decision to break the theatrical window for Trolls World Tour amid the novel coronavirus pandemic. Now, he says, I believe that the studios are very committed to theatrical releases, and they've said it. Which some of them are, but some of them definitely aren't. PVOD is a failed experiment. The numbers haven't worked in a pandemic, so how can they work in a non-pandemic? And he is actually right, in fairness. You know, Disney Plus is saying that Mulan's made so much money, but we literally can only take their word for it. They do have a vested interest in saying that they made lots of money. So I can't say that, you know, how can you look at PVOD and say huge success, mega bucks, epic. If it's not going to work in a world where people are at home, how is it going to work when theatres are open and they have that experience of going out? People like to go outside. People like to be around other people. We are social creatures by definition, or by default, like nature. Now, anyway, he goes on to say, so how can they work in a non-pandemic? Streaming is an alternative, especially for mid-level movies, but PVOD just doesn't work, which is obviously the premium videos on demand. Now, he says that returning to China, where IMAX has an expanding footprint, Gelfond said the local language film The 800 launched strongly, bringing in 150 million on the opening weekend, despite capacity limits in theatres. Which goes to say an awful lot, doesn't it? Let's be honest. If Mulan's not doing well in China, but this did very well, 150 million opening weekend, you know, it's the movies that are being released that are not doing very, very well. Tenet was a movie which is never going to do exceptionally well in China. It is doing well, but it's not like an exceptionally, you know, Chinese-based movie. So, it's good. Tenet is a success. It's a huge success. You're going to see a very strong recovery in China. It's very promising, and there's nothing unique about China. I do think it will be a model for the rest of the world. So basically saying, look, China's nothing unique. We all just need to follow it, and that's what's going to happen, which makes perfect sense. So there you go. I think Tenet is a huge success. I don't see any issue with this, but I do find it fascinating how, you know, certain people are saying certain things and certain people are saying others. When you just look straight down the line, it seems very, very obvious to me, and I think Tenet is a good indication of how things are going to be moving forwards. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. You can stay up to date on the world of pop culture, movie news, movie reviews, and just little deep dives like this by hitting the bell notification icon. Would mean the world to me. It really does help the channel out. YouTube is really like sandboxing this channel at the moment. I don't really know why, but if you check the links down below in the description box, you can find links to my Twitter. Please do follow me on Twitter, because if you're not getting notifications, I'm going to start sharing videos over on Twitter. So it really, you know, it would help you and me out, basically. But anyway, thanks so much. I've been Mr. H. Take care.